Hello everybody and welcome back to the Chinese countryside. I was going to be hitting the road and going back to Danyang today in Jiangsu province, but change of plans. We're staying here for maybe today, tomorrow, but eventually we are going to have to go back because, well, I have to go there and catch a flight. As you know, I have a business that I'm trying to run here. But before this whole virus thing started up, there goes neighbor, we had been scheduled to attend an expo in New York and another one in Las Vegas back in the United States. And of course, yeah, the booth is already paid for, all of that. So, well, that's our intention to go there somehow. I don't know how well it's going to work out or if the expo is even going to happen, but well, it's been set up for a while, so rather than wasting all that money, I figure we should probably try to make it to the thing. But that's what we're going to be doing here in the next, I guess, in about a week. We'll see. Well, more than a week. I have several legs to the journey that I have to take. So, but yeah, eventually New York and Las Vegas should be fun. Back in the United States again, temporarily. Short term. But as I said, you know, with this whole virus thing going on, I really don't know what is going to happen with that. If our plans are going to fall through, or, well, we'll see. Things are just starting to take off over there. Now, if you've been watching this, you probably know things around the world are starting to disintegrate quickly. People from Italy are beginning to experience how it is. People from Japan, people from South Korea, all of them are having difficulty getting out of their countries, and the same thing goes for people in China. So it's very difficult to find flights that'll take you out of China. I think I'm going to probably have to go to Thailand, which isn't an ideal option for the first leg of the journey, because that's one of the only places left that are taking regular flights from China. Now, something did pop up on Twitter very briefly from the Thai government saying they were going to start blocking people from China going there, but it was taken down almost immediately. So, I don't know. We'll see. That doesn't sound all that great. Frankly, I've been wondering how Thailand has managed to keep their numbers so low. I don't know if it's because the weather is great, but I just don't know. They've been receiving flights from China all this time. Maybe it does have something to do with the weather. I don't know. I haven't heard so much out of Singapore in a while. I don't know what their numbers are. South Korea obviously gets cold there. It's probably still cold there. It's not a tropical place exactly in Japan, so maybe that does play a factor, and maybe when the weather changes and it gets warm, this virus thing will just evaporate. I'm hoping so. I sure hope so, because, you know, I don't think we need to be dealing with this any longer. So, summer isn't that far away. Let's hope that that things improve. All the places that I'm hearing about in the United States, for the most part, are places that are a little bit colder right now. I know they're having some panic over there in California, but the cases I'm hearing about are quite a bit further north in Washington. That's where people are dying, so I don't know. How many cases are there? There might be like one or so. I don't know how many are in Florida. I don't get all those numbers. My wife knows all those numbers. She should be on here with me. But yeah, hopefully as the weather changes and things get warm, that means the virus kind of goes away. I'm sure everybody's hoping for that. I can tell you, here in China, things are very bizarre. They tell you one thing and then they do another. For example, Beijing comes out, you know, and they say, okay, everything's safe now. You can go back to work. You can go from city to city. We're removing all the roadblocks. And then as soon as they do that, they seal off Beijing and say you can't come into Beijing, though. So it's like, okay, are the numbers really safe? What does that mean? But same thing with other situations. They say you can go back to work. now I'm seeing news reports about all these people trying to go back to the factories in Shanghai, and they're being told to leave. So if you're wondering why the capacity for, I guess, production capacity in China is still down, that's why. Because they're turning people away. Even though they said they could go back to work, they're really not letting them go back to work. That's still a bit of a developing, well, it's not developing. Come on, I've been all over the place and seen what's going on. And some of the most affected places are where most of the manufacturing takes place. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty rough for a while. Supply chains are going to be pretty messed up around the world. As I mentioned in my other videos, I'm sure that Apple can tell you that things are not returning to normal so quickly. That's going to be a mess. I have to wonder where my phone was made. Mine's a Samsung, so it's my understanding they're making parts of this in Vietnam now. So maybe Samsung will keep going, but Apple might have some disruptions. If you like Apple. My wife is a big Apple fan. She likes iPhones. At least she did. Now she's starting to think that my phone is pretty cool. But no, her iPhone is pretty good. It has really good cameras on it. It's got, well, you know what iPhones are. I'm not a tech guy, so, well, kind of. This isn't a tech show. But at least not until I go to Shenzhen and show you guys all the tech stuff. Then it can be maybe a tech show, at least for one episode. But for now, the coronavirus is on everybody's mind. I'm really looking forward to warmer weather. Not just because the virus will go away. I'm just tired of the cold in general. Today it's supposed to be a little bit warmer, 12 degrees Celsius, which to me that's getting warmer. That'll be nice. It's not as warm as it was about a week ago, but well, where I'm at, this is just kind of the way it is. So you can see there's a bit of haze out here. Just a bit hazy. That's humidity. It's not smoke or pollution, which adds to the feeling of cold. When it gets to 12 degrees, it'll probably be nice and sunny. It'll probably burn off some of this fog or haze or whatever you want to call it. I'm looking forward to it. I can handle cold, but if you don't have to, then why? Right? There's no snow to go sledding. I can't go skiing. So I don't care about the cold. I don't have a Jeep to drive around, so I don't like the cold. Just going past this rice paddy, it reminded me, someone mentioned duck hunting, and in Louisiana, people duck hunting in rice fields or similar fields to these rice paddies. I haven't seen anything other than domesticated ducks out here. I know they have ducks, wild ducks in China, but around here, they certainly don't. There's just those birds that are always squawking really loud when I pass nearby their nests. Yeah, no duck hunting. Even if they did have wild ducks, I don't think people would be allowed to hunt them really because nobody has guns. So the thought of somebody having a shotgun or something to take down waterfowl, probably not. Guns. Now, I have seen guns a couple of times in China, not in the hands of private citizens, of course. But my first experience with that was a long time ago. I was traveling to Yunnan province, and I was on this bus. It's a sleeping bus. I mentioned it in another video. Essentially, it's a bus that has beds instead of seats. It's a really strange thing. It was a very strange thing getting on. The beds were too small for me, obviously, but well, I endured it, and I got to this little place called Ruli. It's on the border with Myanmar or Burma, whatever it's called these days. And somewhere along the way, in the middle of the mountains, suddenly the bus pulls into this place and stops. And I look out the window, and there's a Chinese soldier standing with a machine gun in this thing. I'll call it a turret. And then some soldiers get on the bus and they start going through everybody's bags. Apparently it's a place where there's a lot of drug trafficking, I guess, between the two countries. So they check everything going through. Drugs, it's a very serious thing here. I don't mean that people take it serious. What I mean is the government takes it serious. So they have pretty severe punishments. I know in the United States, they seem very severe with their punishments, but in China, if you get caught with drugs, then you're dead. That's the punishment. If you get caught with drugs, then you're dead. Drugs over a certain amount. And they don't care if you're from China or if you're from the UK or wherever you're from, the punishment is the same. So, yeah, if you like that sort of thing, probably not a good idea to bring it to China. Just as a word of advice, this isn't a place that's friendly toward that sort of thing. A little while back, in another video, I had to pass a tractor thing. Here's one about passing by. You can see that. Those used to be, well, I guess they're still everywhere. In the countryside, farmers use them for all kinds of things. They'll, yeah, it detaches from that trailer, and I've seen them take the wheels off, and they'll use it to run some sort of machinery. They've use it to grind things up. They use it for everything. It's a very versatile little tractor thing. They even use it for transportation and hauling things. And you'd be shocked how much stuff they'll fit on those. I used to laugh, you know, and in the big city, if you're out by the outskirts, that you'll see them sometimes with enormous amounts of stuff just loaded on there. And you have to wonder how in the world, you know, that thing is still going down the road. But yeah, they like to do that. Very versatile machines. You know, I've always felt like Spring Festival or Chinese New Year always seems to mark about the time when things start to green up, flowers start to bud, and people start working in the fields. It's like they've got it timed perfectly for when spring weather starts to actually show up. As you can see, the plants growing over there. So, and they seem to get it right, even though this year, like I've always said in these videos, is the year without a spring festival because of this virus. But the timing was right, and you can see they've been working in the fields and things are greening up quite a bit out here. Here's an interesting spot. I've passed by this so many times. There's almost always somebody out here fishing. I guess this morning I'm out here a little bit earlier. There's nobody fishing in it, but apparently there are fish in this water. I don't know how good they are to eat, but yeah, I guess that there are fish in there. Probably carp. Chinese people love to eat carp, and if you're not sure what that is, it's basically a giant goldfish. Except that it's not gold in color. But yeah, they love to eat those. People back in the West don't usually eat carp, but yeah, they eat it here. I usually don't like to eat fish in China because of all the little bones. It's like there's thousands of little bones that go off in every direction, and they're just waiting to get you, you know? You go to eat it, and you think you got the bones out, and nope, they've got you. I don't know how Chinese people do it, but they seem to be able to eat the fish with the bones, no problem. They can get all the bones and just spit them out, and I can't do that. I'm not very good at that. That's kind of the way Chinese food is out here. They, when they cook it, they cut it up into little pieces, whether it be chicken or whatever, along with the bones. So you have to, well, somehow they can get the whole thing in their mouth, the little bits of chicken. They chew it up, and then they just spit the bone out with no meat on it. And well, I guess for Americans, that's not such an easy task. So we like, generally speaking, you know, big pieces of meat that you can sink your teeth into. Here, they claim that if you take the bones out before you cook it, then it loses a lot of the flavor or something like that. That's probably true. But I've gotten better at it over the years. I'm not an expert, but I've gotten better at it. You know, with all this virus stuff spreading around, I really have to wonder how it's going to work out going to those expos back in the United States. Back in the early days of the virus outbreak, I thought that we were going to get my son's passport and take him and escape the thing, but now it's spread everywhere. Now it feels almost like it's safer to be in China than to be anywhere else. So he has his passport, but I'm kind of thinking that we should probably not take him anywhere, not to any airports or anything for a while, not until this thing settles down. Maybe then we'll take him to his first trip to America. But for now, I don't feel safe taking him. Otherwise, it would have been a lot of fun to take him to New York. Well, he probably wouldn't really appreciate that. He's two, and he doesn't care about anything except his toys and his cartoons. So he might not care so much about the big buildings. He's used to seeing big buildings in China. So yeah, maybe he wouldn't appreciate it so much. When he's older, it'll be more fun to take him on trips like that. And yes, I'm wearing my mask now. There are plenty of people going by, so I'm wearing this. I don't really want to take any risks, and it's more just so that people don't bother. You know, if I go into town and the town cop guy's going by, they probably have a fit because I'm not wearing a mask. So I'm wearing the mask just in case. Don't want to get harassed. By the way, have you ever wondered what Chinese music sounds like? Sorry about that. That's Chinese opera. Yeah, I think I talked about my first experience with Chinese opera. It happened in Yiwu. I was going to a back alley market to get some food, you know, some noodles or something, and they had this big stage set up with people singing like that. At first, you know, it sounds very harsh and probably not very appealing to most people's ears. But there are interesting stories that go along with the opera, so I'd recommend checking it out if you ever get a chance. If you're in Beijing as a tourist or something, go to the Beijing Opera and give it a try. There's some, well, you probably won't understand what's going on, but yeah, really interesting stories. Definitely something, if you want to know about Chinese culture, that's a good bit of Chinese culture right there that I'd recommend checking out. Now, China, like anywhere else, they've got, you know, a wide variety of music genres to listen to. So there's the traditional stuff. There's music that's a little bit more, how would you say? Well, you know, they've got people that rap. Not that many. They've got rock music. You've heard in some of my other videos the China Blue. That's actually from Wubai, and China Blue, that's from Taiwan. I really like listening to that on long drives. And that app that tracks how many steps you take and puts you on a rank with your contact list. So I got 12th place in the video where I walked to town last time, which is okay. But after that, you know, yet last night it came up and said that I had like, what was I, 64th place, something like that again. But yeah, I've got to get my steps in. I can't be so low on the list. Not when everybody's able to move about. So you see, I'm walking out here in these fields again. Got to get my steps up. It's a little easier in the city because there's so many places for me to go. But here, well, there's just mud pits to walk through. It's still good. It's very relaxing walking around out here in the countryside. It's quiet. You just hear birds and things. As long as they're not the squawking birds that sound like they want to attack me. But for the most part, it's very relaxing. Also, relaxing as long as you don't encounter those grave villages, which I often seem to find myself in somehow. It's just because there's so many people in China. There's going to be a lot of graves, obviously, as you've seen probably in a lot of my videos. And now I'm hearing something that I haven't heard in a while. Well, it seems like it just stopped as soon as I started walking. Frogs. I'm starting to hear the frogs coming out again. That's another thing. I've mentioned snakes, birds, bugs. There's also a lot of frogs that come out when the weather warms up. I guess they go along with the bugs. They're eating the bugs. And the snakes are eating whatever, I guess everything. Yeah, starting to hear the frogs again. That's a good sign things are starting to warm up. While it's on my mind, I really want to point out to everyone, or to remind you how quickly this virus spreads and how quickly the situation can change when it comes to your area. So again, I just want to say, be prepared with some supplies. Not because the virus is going to start killing everybody, but because, you know, there may be disruptions to your regular routine. You may not be able to go to the supermarket. You may not be able to leave your town. You never know what's going to happen. So be prepared with some necessary supplies. Don't think that the government's going to be able to provide everything for you, because that would just be logistically impossible for them to accomplish. So make sure you're in a position where you can take care of yourself as best as possible. Because now that it's spreading everywhere, like I said, it's winding down here, but where you're from, it's just beginning. And things happen fast. When it started here, we came out for Chinese New Year, and the next thing you know, we're stuck in the countryside. So definitely a good idea to get yourself prepared before that happens, just in case. Because it is happening. Look at Italy, it's happening there. You know, people can't leave. People are getting sick. People are panicking. You don't want to be out in that. So do what you have to, get what you need before it comes, so that you don't have to deal with people rushing into the store and going berserk. That's the one piece of advice I can give you from all of my experiences here. Be prepared. You guys have a head start on being able to be prepared. We didn't have any chance of that, because it just suddenly, you know, you hear about there's a new virus, and the next thing you know, you're trapped. So take advantage of that fact. I've been making these videos for over a month now. This is the 41st video, I believe, regarding the coronavirus, or COVID-19, or whatever it's called. So yeah, take advantage of that you have a head start with time to be able to be prepared. Don't wait for it to show up. You know, and already on the West Coast, it's my understanding that Sam's Clubs are all empty, and that sort of thing is happening. So if you're somewhere else, just get what you need so that you don't have to deal with that. And as other people say online, you know, if it doesn't, you know, come to that point, well, you're going to eat the food anyway, so no big deal. At least you'll be prepared if something does happen to go wrong. Also, if you had a cruise ship booked for the summer, you might want to think about not taking the cruise ship. I probably shouldn't pick on the cruise ship people. Their business is probably going to be, well, they're probably not going to have a lot of business for a while. I after seeing what happened over there in Japan with a few other cruise ships, nobody's going to want to be stuck on a cruise ship with a deadly virus going around, and you can't get out, and there's no help. So yeah, cruise ships. I know I'm not going to be taking a cruise ship. I guess if you want to take a cruise ship, you can. I'm going to be avoiding those for a long time to come. That's probably plenty of material for this video. I think if I made it too long, people get tired of hearing my voice, and they'll just shut it off. As you can see, the house is like way off down that direction. I don't know if you can actually see it in the video, but I'm going to put the camera away. I'm going to turn on a podcast and start walking back. And I guess we'll see you guys in the next one.